Alright, so, I want to say first things first. There's going to be a bunch of random clips throughout the years, right? Some of these clips are before I even started my channel. Unfortunately, most of these clips are about 2 years old to a year old, some even sooner, so it's not like 5 years old or something, but, yeah, just have a bunch of clips. Some I have full matches, some I have a bunch of clips. It just depends on what I have here. And I just want to talk about the future of fighting games, and also my experience and how I started playing, so you can get my perspective on things, alright? Because I feel like I'm about to state my opinion here, and I should state my perspective first. Also, I want to mention, this is KOF beta footage, so this brings back memories. I guess I should start off with how I started playing fighting games, right? So I started when I was 5, okay? And Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the PS3 came out, right? So, I'm a 5-year-old, so of course I'm attracted to Spider-Man, alright? So, obviously I'm buying that game. I'm gonna go through a brief history right here. So I bought that game. A few years later, Marvel 3 came out, right? First of all, I didn't know Marvel 2 was an old game, right? Because my 5-year-old brain can't comprehend that. I thought it was a new game, right? So when Marvel 3 came out and it was all fancy and 3D, that really confused me. But I bought Marvel 3 as well. I also played Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe a lot. Probably more than Marvel 2 and Marvel 3. But I played it a lot. And I was like 5, 6 years old, maybe 7. Throughout all this time. So, you know, played Marvel 3 when that came out. And I remember looking at the manual for Marvel 3, and it had the moves for every character in the manual, right? And I was just so sad, because I thought you needed an arcade stick to play the game. Because I remember seeing, you know, quarter circle forward plus LP. Or something like that, right? Plus P, whatever the Marvel buttons are. And I was like, LP isn't on my controller. How do I do that, right? And I thought that was a button exclusive to arcade sticks. And that really, I remember that really like threw me off. And I was like, I'll play the game a little bit, but you know, I guess I can't get good. I didn't know what getting good meant as a 7-year-old, you know. So, that was pretty much it. I played MKX when it came out, and I played Street Fighter V when it came out. And I want to say, during all this, I'm just a button masher, right? I just mash my face on the controller. And then, yeah, that was it. And then a game called Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 came out, right? And that game completely absorbed me. And it's not a fighting game, right? But it completely absorbed me. To the point where I was incredibly excited for any Dragon Ball game that would come out next. And that just happened to be Dragon Ball FighterZ, right? I put thousands of hours, probably close to 1,000 hours, just watching gameplay footage and scooping up every bit of information I could find before the game came out. Because I was so excited, right? And that's pretty much how it started. I feel like the rest is self-explanatory, right? I mean, played fighters. All my friends played fighters too, and that really helped me start the journey into fighting games. And then I went and played literally pretty much every single fighting game in existence since then. And yeah, pretty much no, it isn't my favorite game genre. Because no other game genre has a community like this, and no other game genre lets you do everything, right? You do every motion in a fighting game. You are responsible for every single piece of animation your character does. You are fully in control, and that's why I like fighting games. Because it is all up to you, and yeah, you're just the guy. You know, you do everything. And, you know, I like that level of difficulty and that level of, I mean, it's fun, right? And no other game genre does that. No other game genre says you do everything and everything is in your hands. But anyways, because of because I didn't really start playing fighting games until 2018, right? My perspective is a lot different. I saw the state of fighting games in 2018, right? And, you know, I always saw everyone talking about how bad they were, right? Like, the old days of Street Fighter 4 and MVC 2 and CVS 2 and Third Strike. Like, I missed all that, right? I missed all of that. And I always felt bad, right? Because, you know, in 2018, right, Dragon Ball FighterZ was out. That game was good. MVCI was out, right? And, you know, as I said, I have some familiarity with the MVC series at that time. And it was bad, you know, it was getting flamed. I played the game later, realized it's not really that bad. But yeah, at the time I was getting ridiculed, flamed, right? Injustice 2 was also a joke, you know, the zoning. So at the time, all that was there was Dragon Ball FighterZ, right? KOF 14 looked disgusting, right? Game played fine. I eventually played KOF 14 and I really had fun with it. But it looked terrible, right? Street Fighter 5 was terrible at the time. It was probably right around the time when it started its redemption arc, you know. And this is the fighting game landscape that I'm thrown into, right? Everyone's talking about the good old days. And we're in the downfall of fighting games at that time. Dragon Ball FighterZ was the only good thing to come out. And it had terrible netcode, right? So my perspective really changed. It was really different than other people. Because I started at the downfall of fighting games, right? I think it's hard to argue that fighting games were doing good in 2018. Because they really weren't. The only game with good netcode was Skullgirls and Mortal Kombat, right? I don't think anything else was really... Mortal Kombat X, by the way, which had come out years before. So yeah, I started on the downfall, right? And that's why I want to talk about the future, right? Because whether you consider 2018 a downfall or not, right? Because a lot of new people did start playing. A lot of people played Dragon Ball FighterZ. But whether you consider it the downfall or not, there's no denying that we are on a rise. Like a huge rise. Like entering the 90s and early 2000s era of rise right now. Possibly surpassing that, right? You know, we have Strive, right? What you see right here. I'm fighting Brian F right here, by the way. This was the day 2 of the game being out, I think. Day 2? Yeah, I think this is day 2 of Strive, or day 3. Fighting Brian F. That was fun. And I fought him on stream. I don't know, it's a good time. But yeah, Strive, Street Fighter 6, Melty Blood is good for melty players. You know, I forgot about Tekken. I guess Tekken came out in 2018. That was a pretty good, 2017 I think, and that was a pretty good thing for fighting games. But everything else was falling apart, especially Capcom, which were the kings before. But yeah, so Strive, Street Fighter, Tekken, KOF, we were getting a Garo 2. You know, everything is going good. Like this is the start of a new generation, right? And I feel like Strive might be considered the end of this generation, but for me, I see it as like the very start. I see Strive as the very beginning of the next generation, because not only is it on PS5, it's just so different than what came before, you know, in terms of netcode. Like, they actually listened. And I don't think it's fair to bunch Strive with a bunch of delay-based games. Because for me, I see it as the downfall was the delay-based years, and the uprise started with rollback. That's how I see it. So yeah, and we're entering. Some people say that the golden era passed, right? But if things keep going this way, the golden era never passed. It's literally now, right? Like the days of CVS 2 and MVC 2 and Third Strike all the way back then, and Street Fighter 4 may not have been the golden era. This might be the golden era. We'll have to see, right? As things are going right now, we're missing an MVC game or a CVS game, which seems like it could actually come back. You know, and with those two games, look right here, even some Virtual Fighter gameplay, like what? They brought that back. This might be the golden era. Not the MVC 2 days or the MVC 3 days and Street Fighter 4. Don't let nostalgia blind you, right? That's the main thing. Actually look at what these games are and what they have. And we could be entering the golden era. And that's what I like about the future. Oh yeah, this is some really bad quality Killer Instinct gameplay, but I had to include it in here because Killer Instinct was amazing. I played for the first time this year, and it was insane. I'm glad I got to play it, although not in the most great quality, but you know I still played it. But yeah, Street Fighter 6 has potential to be the greatest fighting game ever made. You could be a hater and be all corny and stuff, like certain people, but look at it, right? Don't even compare it to Street Fighter 5. Compare it to every other fighting game, right? Sure, the quality of fighting games has definitely increased over the years, right? But that doesn't mean the content has, alright? Even though I play these games, well, I used to play Strive competitively, and I played DNF Duel competitively, you know, and I play these games a lot, I still felt scammed by their price points, right? Compare it to any other genre, and you are not getting your bang for your buck in fighting games. You're getting 16 characters, you'll probably only play 1 or 2, and you're getting an online mode for $60, right? Now look at Street Fighter 6, right? If you want to, maybe you don't consider Strive the next generation, right? But Street Fighter 6 absolutely is, right? And if this is a sign for how the rest of the generation will go, then we are absolutely in the golden years. If not, if this is just a one-time thing, then Street Fighter 6 has potential to be the greatest fighting game of all time. Because it's a full-on game, right? It's not a fighting game, it is a game. And that's important, because fighting games aren't games, really. They're rip-offs. To the average casual, they are rip-offs. And just look at what's coming out, right? Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, Garo 2, right? I hope SNK steps it up a bit, because as you see, you know, some Samurai Shodown gameplay and some KOF gameplay, these games are pretty trash when it comes to having anything other than online. There's nothing in these games that you can do besides play them, which for casuals, that's a problem, like a big problem. At least KOF has a big roster. Samurai Shodown has a big roster too, and most of it was free. But you know, I hope they step it up on this. Maybe add a story mode to Garo. That'd be cool. But yeah, we're Tekken 8 is gonna have some content. Street Fighter 6 is looking like it could be the best fighting game of all time. You know, and then some people just want to forget about this, right? But this could be the best fighting game of all time. Project L is right behind Street Fighter 6, probably by a year. Like, this is the golden age right here. Project L could be literally revolutionary. And Street Fighter 6 is already going to be revolutionary, and the genre is going to change, alright? That's the one thing. Project L and Street Fighter 6 are going to make sure that a game like DNF Duel can never exist, right? Because, let's be honest, whether you like DNF Duel or not, and you can check my channel, I sure loved it. They got away with robbery. 16 characters, $50, 0 updates. The first update is going to come out in December, 6 months after the game came out. That is unacceptable. And a new stage or character might not come out until months after that. Completely unacceptable, right? And I think Street Fighter 6 and Project L are going to completely change that, right? You can't just get away with doing that anymore. They can get away with it now because it's the only option, but I think with Street Fighter 6 and Project L, fighting game devs are going to start treating their players like they mean something, right? Because now with fighting games, it's just, oh, you get what you get, and you deal with it, because that's all you got. And ArcSys has been on an uprise lately, right? A really big uprise. But they released these games that are scams, okay? Grand Blue, when it came out... No, Grand Blue is still a scam. Well, no, it's $20 now, right? Grand Blue, when it came out, was $60 for 12 characters. Right? It had a cool RPG mode, right? But it just wasn't there. The content wasn't there. They released Kill la Kill for $60. It has a cool story mode. But it has like 8 characters or something. Right? DNF Duel, $50, 16 characters. At least they lowered the price, right? Arcs has been on a rise, but I hate when people say, oh, stop complaining, because you're only going to play one character, and you'll play that game for hours, so you're getting your money's worth. Just because I play the game for 100 hours, or 200 hours, doesn't mean that I'm satisfied with spending $60 on it, you know? I like ArcSys, right? The only reason I'm here, as you saw in the beginning, was because of Dragon Ball FighterZ. But they need to step it up, right? Because ArcSys is kind of like an indie game studio compared to Capcom and especially Riot. But they need to step it up, right? Because you have to paint the picture right now. Here is the next... I would say the next 3 years in fighting games, right? Street Fighter 6, Project L, Tekken 8, and whatever NetherRealm's working on. And whether you're a NetherRealm hater or not, those are full games. Those are big budget, full games. And ArcSys is going to have to step it up with them. Because NetherRealm is taking double the amount of time they usually do. So their next game is going to be gigantic. Project L is made by literally the biggest game company in the world, so that's going to be gigantic. Street Fighter 6 is the definition of a comeback from Capcom, and Tekken 8 is going to be Tekken, right? So ArcSys has to step it up, which is what I'm excited about. ArcSys and SNK, they are smaller teams, right? But they have to go ham. They have to do their all, and that's why I'm excited, because the competition that is going to be around for these games is incredible. I don't think we've ever seen it before. I don't think we've ever seen competition like this before, and I hope that pushes each game to be as amazing as they possibly can be. And you know, the future's looking good. The next 3 years specifically could be the greatest 3 years of all time. As long as all of these games are good, but Street Fighter 6, there's a beta next week, and I hope I get in. Street Fighter 6 is looking amazing, right? Tekken 8, from that little clip, it's looking very high quality. You can't judge much, but all I can judge is that it's very high quality. NetherRealm, like I said, is taking double the time as usual. As long as they avoid what they did with MK11, could be God tier. And it's just looking good. It's just looking so good, and I'm just really excited about it. I really am. Who knows? These games could be terrible, but these games aren't out, and just seeing how they aren't out yet, it's looking good. It's looking good. On paper, all of this sounds better than we've ever had before. And I don't know if anyone can disagree with that. It sounds bigger and crazier than any amount of time that's passed. Like, we've never seen this many games this fast at this quality. Assuming they're all going to be high quality, but there's no way they're not. And, you know, this is important. If you're watching this and you don't play fighting games, I don't know why you would be watching this, but if you are, play them. If you've been wanting to play them, this is a chance. This is a new generation. All these games are going to have cross-play now. We're done with the age of rollback, right? That's just a standard now. Now we're in the age of cross-play. That's becoming the new standard for fighting games. So if you haven't played fighting games and you want to play fighting games, you have to now. Like, this is the spot. Buy Street Fighter 6. Just buy it, right? If you don't like, you'll probably like the game. It'll have a bunch of stuff for you to do if you're like new to fighting games. But it's a Street Fighter game. It will get you into fighting games. And if you end up not liking it, it still will set you up for Tekken or Mortal Kombat or the next KOF game or whatever they decide to do. It will set you up perfectly. So yeah, I would say start on Street Fighter 6 or start on Project L. I would recommend Street Fighter 6 because it's way closer. But you know, maybe you're a Valorant nerd or a League of Legends nerd, and you just wanna switch over from that. Just do it, because Valorant and League of Legends are like the biggest games in the world, and there's about to be a fighting game with that. So the colossal amount of people that are gonna transfer over to fighting games, it's gonna be insane. You know, Street Fighter 4 players are called 09ers or whatever. I think Project L people are gonna be called 24ers or whatever that game comes out, 2024 or whatever. But anyways, you know, just want to talk about that, give some history and the future, and yeah, you know, I made a new outro to celebrate the future. So yeah, enjoy.
Yeah, hey there, I do this, never feel loose. And when I get up in the game, y'all be improved. A real problem, but I solve them all fast proof. And if you think I'm gon' fold, then you talking fool. Yeah, y'all wanna win, let me spin, boy. I'm done inside, I'm super fly like I'm hanging off the rim, boy. I've been winning for my kinfolk, and I put on for my city from the intro. Let's go.
I put that time in, my pride is out the roof, I get that grind in. So I'ma tell the truth, I get my grind on. You know the pressure make all of these diamonds. I tell them get back, step back, fast track, big lap, big facts. I'm past that, yeah. I'm trying to get ahead, get out the way. Now move forward, stand back, now break away. I'm about to bring it on.